Broker Bulletin acknowledges the traditional custodians of all the lands across the country on which we record our podcast and pays its respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Broker Bulletin podcast, where better begins. Join us as we chat with brokers about what's working for them, what drives them, and the real challenges and wins that matter most right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Broker Bulletin. I'm Grace Ormsby, and today I'm coming to you live from the Leading Ladies High Tea in Adelaide. I am lucky enough to be talking all things social media with the one and only Sam Neville from I Am Lending. I hope you enjoy the conversation. First of all, for everyone here, please welcome Sam Neville up to the stage. She's the business owner behind I Am Lending and has made some absolute waves in social media. It's really, really cool to see. If you aren't already following her, there's some pretty good inspiration to be found. We've had a few conversations in the lead up to today, and it's just amazing how willing she is to be sharing what she's done, what does work, what doesn't work. And Sam, the way you see it, it's better for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't gatekeep information. If I know it, I think it's a great idea, I'm more than willing to share that. It's not something that I want to keep to myself. You know, if I don't feel like I'm competing with every one of you for my clients, they're my clients. They should be with me because they love me, and your clients will be with you because they love you. So if you do the exact same thing that I'm doing on social media, that's fine. You're not going to bleed my clients off of me, and I'm not going to bleed your clients off of you. They should be with you because they love you. So I don't have an issue at all with sharing everything that I have. I'm very big on not gatekeeping and like paywalling information on my website as well. I had a big chat with the LMG marketing team today because I wanted to have a PDF on my site that could be downloaded, and their option is to have, you know, put your details in to get this PDF. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. And he was like, yeah, cool, that's fine. So we've found a workaround so that you can just get that PDF without having to put any details in whatsoever. So that's how I am with information. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at any time. I'm more than willing to share.
Thank you. So before we get started, for those that don't know I Am Lending, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of your business, how long you've been working in broking, and we'll go from there.
Beautiful. So I have been broking for 4 years as a loan writer within a previous franchise. I left about 3 months ago to start my own business. So I've been running I Am Lending now for just over 2 months. And it's just been so amazing to have control over my own brand. We were talking before about the legal department. I'm my own legal department. I get to decide what I post, how I post it, where is the line for me in terms of brand. And it's just been really freeing to just be unhinged on social media, which is my brand.
Speaking of social media, what sparked that decision for you to actually go, social media is going to be what I do for marketing? When were you all in on that?
Yeah, so I had been doing videos as a way to impart information to my customer base in a previous role. So I was like a BDM for real estate agents, and I had 450 of them. And for me to get that information to 450 clients at least once a quarter to have either a face-to-face or a phone call was a big ask. Like, that's a lot of time. And I found that all you ended up doing was focusing on that top tier of customers and then just ignoring everyone else because they were low value customers. And that doesn't sit well with me either. So what I found was if I could record the information in a video of what I knew they needed to be across, and then I could email that to them and say, hey, here's everything you need to know. Watch it when it suits you. Call me if you've got questions. It meant that I could cover so many more clients, and they were all getting a better experience than just me focusing on the top 20 and ignoring everyone else. And it worked really well for me there. When I became a broker, I wanted to take that same idea through to being able to contact as many people as possible with good information, with updates, with changes. So I did start on TikTok. It was one of those things, everything's scary, right? Doing something new is scary. No one wants to be like, hey, I'm going to do this new thing and have to deal with, oh, what if it didn't work, or what if it's not for me? But every time I get that feeling of, oh, this is scary, that's a trigger for me to be like, I should be doing that. That is a thing I should do. So when TikTok became a thing and everyone was like, oh, TikTok, like, what is TikTok? Do we want to be doing TikTok? I was like, no, this is for me. So I got on TikTok, I started posting videos, and for the first little while there was no traction. I just posted the videos because I knew that was part of what I wanted to do. And then I was at the movies one day. So you turn your phone off, right? You turn your phone off at the movies. At the end of the movie, I turned my phone back on and it was just like, I was like, what has gone on here? And I had earlier that day or earlier that week, I had posted a video about Hex. And this was back when this was about 3.5 years ago when the indexing was at 7%. So I remember when Hex like shot up, and I'd done a post about, hey, this is what Hex is. This is how it works. If you're in a position to pay your Hex off before the indexing, like that is a great thing to do, because if you're earning less than this amount and your Hex is more than this amount, it's actually going to go up by more than you pay off. And that was it. And it was supposed to be 2 parts. So the first part I'd done, and then because no one was watching my videos, I was like, I'll post the second one whenever I get to it. And this video went insane. People were all over it. They were commenting. They were like, we didn't know this. How has no one told us about this? Like, why is this even a thing? Like, how can you enter into a loan agreement effectively that gets bigger over time? And I was like, oh, there's a lot in this. And I had phone calls from people calling me, asking me advice on what they should do with their Hex. And then they were like, oh, you didn't talk about borrowing power. You said you were going to talk about borrowing power. And I was like, yeah, that's part 2. It's coming. Oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. You know, I get 200 views and I woke up to 200,000 views the next day. And I was just like, what is this? And that's when I was kind of like, you know what? There's something in this. There are so many people that have so many questions and they don't have a place to go, right? Because you type it into the internet and you get, like, maybe you get the Hex site or the ATO website and maybe it tells you something, maybe it's jargon. But having a person that is going to explain it for them, and then you mentioned about people using social for search. They're in there, they're saying like, what's happening to my Hex debt? And they're getting someone that they can listen to, someone that they can understand that's speaking in their language. And so that was when it really clicked for me that this is the kind of content that answers to questions that people need.
So you don't spend any money on traditional marketing media?
No, I'm trying to spend money on Instagram and Meta ads. They keep rejecting my ads. So no, I'm not spending anything. TikTok is 100% free. I'm not spending $1 on TikTok. I have been looking to boost a few posts, but really that's just to test whether it's worth doing. So check back in with me when I finally get one running.
So how do you then measure the return on investment? Because having spoken to you before, I know that there is a bit of work that goes on behind the scenes, and not everyone, it's not going to work for everyone to dedicate as much time as you do. But I still think you do it in a very manageable, sustainable way that works for you.
Yeah. And I guess it depends on what you want to drive. For me, being a new business, I need names and numbers, I need leads, I need people to talk to. So I am very much focused on getting people to contact me. I'm tracking that in a couple of different ways. I'm a numbers person. I love a spreadsheet. I'm all about a spreadsheet. So I am tracking the views month by month because I like that. And then I can put it in a little graph and I can see what's going on. But I'm also tracking, I have a weekly tracking sheet and I write down every single lead that comes in. And then I track where that's coming from. And then I sort of have a look, I can look back at that month by month and sort of see where it's all coming from. So I know that in the previous role, I sort of averaged about 3 leads a week from social, from TikTok. That since I've started the new business and I've been posting consistently and more often is now up at around 5 a week. So at the moment I'm aiming for 3 a day. So, and I mean, we're not talking long form content. I think this is a question later. So if I run over the same content, I'll try and abridge it. I try to post 3 things a day, but there's so many things that could be a part of. So some long form content. So if it's something like Hex, so if you're explaining what Hex is, how it works, what it means for borrowing power, that's a long form, probably 2 to 3 to 5 minute video. And that will take me a bit of time to put together. I'll do a script. I'll sit down and film it. But some of the other stuff is like a 30-second post. So if you go onto either my Instagram or TikTok and you notice, you'll see that there was a video posted about an hour and a half ago from the inside of that room there. And it is just 10 seconds of me telling someone about an update.
When you come to Monday, yep. I'm sure you're on your phone on the weekends as well. So that probably should be considered too. We're all on social media anyway. Maybe not everyone. I don't want to talk for everyone, but there's a lot of dead time that people are probably already on these apps in those communities. And you make that active time by using it as research.
Yeah, research. It's research. I'm not spending all day on my phone for nothing. It's all research. So one of the big things about that is, and you mentioned, and I have to say, I've listened to a lot of marketing presentations about what you should be doing with marketing and what's important for marketing as a broker. And that was the most spot on best one I've heard. Normally I sit there and I'm like, yeah, whatever. That was great. Everything she had there was solid gold, and it's everything I agreed with. And one of those is in terms of, if you know what your, oh God, there was so much there that I loved. But if you know what your market is, you know who you're marketing to. When you have an idea of, oh, I think this is a good one. For me, I just film 2 seconds of the roof or the floor, and then I write in that what my idea was, and I save it to my drafts folder. Because I'm not going to film it right there, right? I might be out having lunch or dinner or walking the dog or doing whatever. I'm not going to film it right there. But then it's there and I haven't forgotten about it. So when I come to Monday and I go to my drafts folder, there's 15 ideas from the weekend that all I need to do is film. And so for me, that's how I sort of build a bank of content. Yeah.
And do you schedule the content throughout the week, or do you just go through and manually?
I'm scheduling the loan market stuff because I do that in a big block, like the corporate stuff. And I think there's a place for both. For me, the loan market corporate stuff that comes out is brand, right? It's got my brand, it's got my colors, it's static. It is just there to reinforce the brand. So that's scheduled out on the days that it's meant to be scheduled out on, and it's sort of filtered out throughout the month. Everything else I am doing a little bit ad hoc because, like I said, I'll have them ready, and then when I get a spare minute, I'll post them. So maybe it could be better, but if I had a person to do it, they could do that maybe, but it's just me. And that works for me in terms of structuring my day and my life. Is I'll just, in the mornings, like first thing in the morning, like you roll out of bed and kids haven't eaten breakfast yet, I've got 5 minutes. I can post one then, and then I'll try and post one around lunchtime, then I'll try and post one in the afternoon. And that gets me through. And
Mondays is that bulk, working out what you're going to do, scripting when you need to.
Yeah.
Filming. You're pretty active with the filming too. Like, I don't know.
You've seen me.
I've seen it. Rolling around on the floor, standing up on tables. It's amazing.
I had to ask Charisse if the boardroom table would support my weight, and she was like, yeah. It did, by the way. So yeah, for me, that's my brand is a bit silly. It's a bit, I can't dance. I'm not a dancer. So whenever there's a dancing trend on TikTok, like I'm out. I'm already out. I'm so uncoordinated when it comes to dancing. So some of those like smaller physical comedy ones I can manage. I try and do as many of those as I can because I know when there's a dancing trend. Like, has everyone seen the ad, the Cat's Eye Gap jeans ad? Yeah? You know what I'm talking about? Phenomenal. Like, that is the best piece of marketing that I've seen this year. There's a whole backstory to it with Sydney Sweeney and the jeans debacle. But that Cat's Eye ad, if you haven't seen it, get onto any kind of social media and type in Gap jeans and just watch it. Beautiful. But I can't dance, so I'm not getting any part of that.
On the spontaneous side of things, because there's probably a few people out there that are a bit more comfortable now with that pre-planning. It does feel better when you've got a little bit of an idea of what you're going to be doing. You go out and film it. You know when it's going to go out. But spontaneous can be a bit harder sometimes. How do you go with that reactive piece? As you said, it's important to get it out then and there. You can't really wait. You can't really, say, oh, I'll just do that on the weekend and we can push something out next week.
Yeah.
How does that then come into your flow? How do you comprehend working in that way?
Yeah. And you talked about authenticity, right? Like, it's better to be authentic and maybe not be polished. So it's better to maybe not have a full face of makeup. Maybe it's better to not even be in work clothes. Maybe it's a weekend and you've just got the notification that the first home buyer scheme has changed. So you can just pick up your phone and be like, hey guys, I've just found out that this is happening. I'm not even dressed. Like, I'm not ready to go. Like, this is happening. It's amazing. Here's some details. And that's more powerful than if you'd waited 4 hours, wrote a script, sat down in front of the ring light, got everything ready and was like, the first home buyer's guarantee is a scheme by the government where you can borrow up to 95%. Like, they can find that information on the internet. What they're after is getting the answer from someone. What does it mean for them? And I think when you're building your content, and you talked about it being broker-centric. For us brokers, the important part is for it to be client-centric, right? It's what does it mean for them? Because changes to the broker scheme, cool, makes us more busy. We like that. They don't care about that. They care about what it means for them. So that's about, what does this mean for you if you were trapped by that 600K limit? Now you're not trapped by that 600K limit. What if you weren't eligible because you earned $205,000 as a couple? Now you're eligible. Those are the important things to relate it back to what it actually means for the client.
And still on that strategy piece, how do you actually decide what to post? How much of it is driven by strategy and, the data that you've previously seen on videos? How much is it driven by gut instinct, or is it a mix of everything? How do you work that out? Because analytics does become, I think, a pretty big driving force, and you can't ignore data.
Yeah.
But also sometimes it doesn't give you the whole story, which comes back to that whole piece around don't expect to go viral, because it won't happen.
Yeah, and that ties in well. So I can spend 20 minutes putting together something that I think is phenomenal. And I'll be like, this is amazing. This is the best video that I've done. 200 views. And I'll be like, I can do a 30-second clip of something else that I have spent no time on, that was not polished, that was not anything exciting. And it will take off. For me, I've been doing this a while now. I've got no idea what will and won't go. And sometimes it goes on one and not the other. So sometimes I put most stuff goes on both. Insta and TikTok. Sometimes I'll get 200 views on TikTok and 4,000 on Insta, or vice versa. You'll get 500 views on Instagram and I'll get 40,000 on TikTok. And I'm like, why? It is the exact same video. So I don't have an answer for you on that one, with the exception that the videos that I have that go viral, the ones that do get lots and lots of views, almost never convert into anything useful. So I had a video, I've got two. So I did one this year about, there was a trend going around about, I have one daughter. I don't know if you've seen that video. Oh,
I probably have.
Yeah. Nothing video. It was just a bit of a play on a guy basically makes a song out of bad Hinge dates or bad Tinder date conversations.
Oh, yes. No, I have seen this one.
I did that of a client of mine. She had a dependent listed on her Medicare card. I had put in the notes that she was 20 or something. She was 19 or 20-year-old. It's like, not dependent on the Medicare card. That's fine. Adult, not dependent. And the assessor just could not let it go. But they're on the Medicare card. They are 19 years old, not a dependent. Where's the childcare cost? 19, not a dependent. And so I filmed that video, and that got, between the two platforms, over 500,000 views. 0 meetings, 0 appointments for that. So great for views. A lot of Americans got on and decided this was a perfect time to whinge about their Medicare system. Great views, useless. I posted a video about 3 weeks ago talking about what neurodivergent people wanted out of a broker, and that had maybe 500 views. And I reckon I've got 5 meetings out of that.
The fact that a lot of your content is around education and empowerment of people out there. So what drives that approach beyond just working out that it did work all those years ago when you first tried it?
Yeah. Well, we're adding value, right? Like, we're adding value. And for me, whenever I have a client that asks me the same question, like if I have more than one client that asks me a question of a similar nature within a period of time, I'm like, this is content. Because there's obviously a gap there. And sometimes I think we get stuck in this side. We know. So everyone knows, right? Of course I know that. Of course I know that HEX is tied to your income. That's how we do the repayment. That's not anything to do with, and that's changed now, by the way. How's everyone enjoying the new HEX repayment sliding scale? That's fun. So if you don't know that stuff, or if you know that stuff, but someone else doesn't know that stuff, that's where I find that's what it's for, right? Like, answering a question that someone has, because when they're searching, if they're searching in there, like, how do I buy a house? Or like, how do I buy a house while I still have one? Like, then those are the answers that you can provide, because it's not just about going viral. We don't want to go viral. Viral's useless. What we want to do is answer a question so that when that person is searching for that information, they find you and then they contact you and then you've got a client.
This next question is a little bit of a loaded one, in that I know that your answer is probably not what people expect, but we all know that social media does move extremely fast. Those trends, they can be in one day, out the next. But how do you keep, one, content fresh, and two, avoid falling into just repeating the same content over and over again? That's the trick.
So it is. The vast majority of people will see one of your videos and then never see another one. So it's fine. Keep reusing the same content. Don't do it so often that TikTok or Instagram will penalize you for it. But for me, because I had a backlog of videos, every year it would be like, hey, last year, you posted this. And I'd be like, yeah, that's good. I'll post that again. And so I could just keep rolling through some of that same content. Rob Roper, who's Trusted Finance, he talks about evergreen content. And evergreen content is a video that works now, it works in a week, it works in a year's time. So not mentioning dates, times, rates, things like that, something that will age the video, means that you can just keep posting that video over and over and over and it works, right? Because if I saw that video a year ago, I'm probably not going to see that video again. Or if I do see it, it's not relevant to me anymore because maybe I've already bought or maybe I'm in a different stage of my life. So I'm just going to scroll past it. I'm not posting videos for the people that scroll past, right? I'm not posting videos that aren't for that person. I'm really posting a video one-to-one for the person who wants that question answered. So if I've posted a video about HEX and someone without a HEX debt sees that video, they're going to scroll past it. That's fine. That video is not for them. And that's fine. You just keep posting videos that answer questions. You'll keep getting people that want those questions answered.
Where to from here? How big do you plan to or hope to grow that TikTok and Instagram viewership?
I like broking. I really, really love broking. So for me, it's always going to be both. I don't ever want to not do the videos because I like doing the videos. And you talked about being a part of that community. I think you do need to be a part of the community that you're posting on. Like if you don't use Instagram socially and you're posting on Instagram, you expect to get results. It's a bit like having a sponsorship to a football club that you don't play at, right? Like if you're not there on the weekend at that football club, you're not going to get any benefit out of that sponsorship. You might have the sign out on the side of the field, but it's not going to do any good for you. You have to be involved in that community. So for me, I'm on TikTok. I'm answering people. I'm following people. I'm commenting on other people's videos because that's the community that I'm a part of. So you do need to be part of the community to get the benefit out of it. But for me, I don't think I'll ever do a Rob Roper and just move into marketing because for me, I love broking. I love helping people. So I would like to do what I do now continuously.
We love that.
Yeah.
It would not be an episode of Broker Bulletin if we didn't ask you what one thing is that you do every single day as a 1%er that really changes the game for you, whether that is social media or just another aspect of your broking business. What is that thing that you can't not do?
Yeah. And it's a bit cliche, right? The continuous improvement, the 1%ers, but it is the answer to it. So when I realized the volume of clients that I had that were neurodivergent, and I realized that they were coming to me for a reason, I wanted to know what it was. And then I asked them. So one of the biggest things you can do, right, is ask your clients, what did you love about this? What worked? What didn't work? What can I change so that when I have a conversation with the next person, when I write the loan for the next person, they have a great experience? Because it's uncomfortable to ask for feedback, right? What if they tell us we were crap? Well, that doesn't feel great. That doesn't make me feel, doesn't spark joy. But I think asking your clients what works, what doesn't work, taking feedback from them and changing your processes. Sometimes it's the littlest part of your process. You know, when there's a part of your process that sticks with you and you hate it, change it. It's your business. You get to change it.
Sounds so easy when you put it like that. Okay. Sam, thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Make sure you're following along, subscribe on whatever platform that you do listen to your podcasts, and leave us a review if you like this episode. If you have any questions, reach out to podcast@lmg.broker. See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Broker Bulletin. We would hate for you to miss an episode. Subscribe to Broker Bulletin in your favourite podcast app. Has this episode been helpful? We'd love you to rate and review us. It'll help us deliver content that's useful to you and help others discover us. If you have great ideas for topics worth tackling or have burning questions you'd like addressed on an upcoming episode, reach out. Links in the show notes. See you next time.